With the EliteBook 845 G9, HP proves that currently AMD need not hide behind Intel anymore at all, but on the contrary. Despite using an efficient Ryzen U or HS CPU, the 14-inch laptop delivers a high performance. After we already took a look at the more expensive 6F6H6EA version with a Ryzen 9 Pro 6950HS iGPU, AMD Radeon 680M, 32GB of RAM, and 1TB SSD, it is now the turn of the 6F6H9EA model, which is significantly more affordable even if it still isn't really cheap. For around €1,400, $1456, buyers will get a Ryzen 5 Pro 6650U iGPU, AMD Radeon 660M, 16GB of RAM, and a 512GB SSD. The display is a matte 1610 panel with a 1920 by 1200 pixel resolution that is supposed to reach 400 candelas per square meter and 100% sRGB color space coverage, according to HP. Since the case is identical to the model we tested previously, we won't discuss the case, equipment, connections, etc., and input devices again here. You can find the corresponding information in our review of the EliteBook 845 G9 6F6H6EA. The configuration of our test unit uses a different panel than its more expensive sibling, AUO, instead of InfoVision. While the response time turns out significantly worse at 27 to 59 milliseconds compared to 21 to 31 milliseconds, the color space is even slightly larger. 75% coverage of the P3 and 77% of the Adobe RGB color space are impressive, even though the LG Gram 14 and Lenovo Yoga 9i 14 come close to the 100% mark here. We also see some differences to the more expensive model in the brightness. Instead of 745 candelas per square meter on average, our test unit only reaches 402 candelas per square meter, but this is still impressive and puts the rest of the competitors to shame, 305 to 379 candelas per square meter. The high color accuracy and rich contrast also deserve some praise. Thanks to its low black value of 0.24 candelas per square meter, the EliteBook 845 G9 6F6H9EA reaches an excellent contrast of 1700:1. However, OLED panels such as that in the Yoga 9i still play in a different league. HP created a well-rounded overall package with our test configuration. 16 GB of RAM and 512 GB of storage are currently the standard for top-tier business and office laptops. Other positives are the comfortable and extensive maintenance options that allow you to replace the working memory and SSD without any problems. Unfortunately, the pre-installed HP software doesn't include any varying performance modes, so we performed all our measurements with the default settings in the state of delivery. Performance should already be able to enjoy the Ryzen 5 Pro 6650U, compared to the Ryzen 9 Pro 6950HS of the more expensive model, which is specified at 35 instead of 28 watts. The 6650U only offers 6 instead of 8 cores, 12 versus 16 threads, and an L2 cache of 3 instead of 4 megabytes, with the size of the L3 cache being identical. It is also not surprising that the clock speeds are lower with 2.9 to 4.5 versus 3.3 to 4.9 GHz. The performance in our CPU benchmarks follows the average of all the 6650U devices we tested so far, falling between that of the Core i5-1240p, 12C/16T, and the Core i7-1260p, also 12C/16T. In contrast to the ThinkPad Z13, the speed can also be maintained constantly. See Cinebench Loop. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos.